Not every employer is as ethical in dealing. Hey guys, thank you so much for staying tuned and thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you continue to watch the video throughout to the end and it's something that is informative for you and give you a bit of a perspective. Now, thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, leave your comments and share with your friends and family about this video. In today's video, I will be talking about things you want to be careful of when you come to China to teach. Now, the top of this list, and disclaimer, I am not claiming to know everything, and of course I am going to give you things from my perspective and my experiences, that of which I would have observed in the environment, and also other person's account of things that takes place here. Now, the very first thing is that you want to ensure that you come here with an open mind. Not every employer is as ethical in dealing and you want to be mindful of this. All right. For another thing is that you want to ensure your contract actually states everything that you are comfortable with and that you and your employer have agreed upon, because can I tell you, things will be stated in the contract and they would want to go against what's in there and do otherwise. Contracts are mostly 1 year or 2 years. I mean, you may have employers that provide different ones, but these are the ones that I'm aware of. And personally, I wouldn't advise anybody to be locked in anything longer than 2 years. I personally wouldn't go more than 1 year because you really want to see where your relationship with a particular employer goes, because listen, you just never know, because it's not a very direct culture, so you can imagine, things can change in the blink of an eye and you'd have to leave. But I mean, your contract will stipulate your resignation process, which you can also go ahead and be mindful of. But in a very transparent sense, they can be very vindictive and refuse to give you your documents, because in order to move on to new employment, you have to be given your release documents from your employer, and they can decide not to. Not that it's legal for them to hold it, especially if you have acknowledged the 30 days notice or whatever time frame that the contract stipulated in terms of the resignation process. But you just want to be mindful of that. So for a 1 year contract, usually you want to pay attention to your probation period. So for a 1 year contract, as far as I'm aware, usually you have 1 month, which is 30 days, that you have that probation period for. For a 2 years contract or more, it can be 2 months. All right, but for 1 year contract, it should not exceed 1 month. For a 2 year contract, it can be 3 months, 2 to 3 months. All right, so you want to be mindful of this. Again, I mean, if it's something being stipulated that you're not comfortable with, you can decide to go with another employer. All right, considering you have not already arrived in China. All right, so can I tell you, ensure you don't allow your documents to be held by your employer. All right, no employer should want, well, let me rephrase that. No employer should hold on to your documents. Now, I'm going to be frank with you. Usually when they do this is to have some tactic. A lot of manipulations are used, and oftentimes when they hold on to your documents, they use your naivety and the fact that you probably don't know much to their advantage. Now, in a case where, for example, they may have purchased your ticket for you. You know, they might want to hold on to it so you reimburse, but at the end of the day, you're still employed with them, so that's not even reason enough for them to hold on to your documents. So they should not hold on to your documents. They should make photocopies of your documents, and whenever the original should be presented, you go with them to the bureau to do the residence permit or whatever documentation that needs to be done. But they should not hold on to your documents, because they're gonna use this against you. No matter how nice they seem, they'll use this against you in one way or another. Say for example, you wish to break the contract and give the proper notice for what your contract states, they're still going to want to find some way to manipulate and to be a bit vindictive, to be honest. So it's illegal for them to hold on to your documents, especially without your permission. And nobody should want, you're not a child. Exactly, you're coming to work, so you're not a child, so you don't need anybody holding your documents for you. All right, your contract should be frequently reviewed to ensure what is agreed upon is actually what is taking place. I tell you, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm giving you it 100%. You do have great employers, you do have vindictive ones, right? As a person, you want to level your expectation and come with openness and open your eyes to things, you know, to be careful of. So, in other words, you want to ensure everything that is being done and advised is accordance with what you would agree on initially in your contract. A lot will deviate from this, can I tell you? All right, there should be no change to the contract unless mutually agreed upon and have written proof or agreement to this. All right, so you don't want to change anything in the contract unless you have given your consent to that. Very important is to learn the process of applying for work permit, residence permit, just so you know any employment law specifically to your work relation. This will be helpful, and further down I'll state in a video why. And I cannot stress it enough, a lot of vindictive actions are done and dishonesty, and you have the opposite happening too. But specifically to what I'm stating, ensure that you try to learn, even as you have immersed yourself in the culture. When you come here, you try to learn a bit so you can't be fooled, because they'll try to fool you. All right, ensure that you have all your documents returned to you. So for example, you have given the school to photocopy the documents. Ensure that they gave you the original documents and the color copy, which are authenticated, right? You want to ensure that you have all your documents you submitted, because you don't want to get your documents and come to China and lose it, because accountability, they won't account and be responsible. Oh, I lost this, I'm very sorry. No, they're gonna pass it off on somebody or give you some statement of stupidity, to be honest. So you want to ensure that you get your documents returned to you, all right? Because failure of that, it can mean problem when you should move on to another place of employment, and it can prevent you from having your work permit or your residence permit being processed. So you want to know these things as well. Ensure you associate with people who understand the law or who have been here and have had experience. This will be helpful. So associate with people who know a lot. And can I tell you, sometimes, well, most times things change, not for the better, but it changes so rapidly. So sometimes information can shift so quickly, right? So this is also helpful. Stay with the persons who try to know how about stuff, so you can make informed decisions as well. Be careful and ensure that your work permit states correctly where you have contract to work and where you're working. It's illegal to work or have your work permit stating the name of another place of work, which is not your employment place. And also, even if your employer have groups of schools, it's illegal for them to use one of those name of the group of school to actually process your work permit. your work permit, and sometimes the excuse is that, oh, the license for this school is expired and whatever. But it's actually not something that should be done, and it can get you in problem. And to be frank, I'll give a story time on that. Want to be mindful of that. All right, be mindful that not everyone that come to China have the exact goal, and this is persons that may be other foreigners and persons who are your country-mate. You know, for me, association is very important, and anybody who know anything can say yes to this, because you associated with the wrong person, you pick up wrong habits or habits that you don't want. So you want to ensure that you associate correctly, and also be mindful persons are here with different objectives, not just to teach. Some people is just it's different, you know, so you just want to be mindful of that. Not everybody here for the same reason. Learn about the various bodies or offices for which you can get services or redress regarding certain problems. Like, you need to know PSB, FEB, different agencies specifically surrounding your employment situation. So if in the event you and an employer have an issue, you know where to go to get situation resolved. Right? All right. So this one is very personal for you. You can't come be one soft soap. And for persons from other countries who are watching and may not understand, you cannot come here and act very soft. It's a culture where you have to do a judgment call based on the situation, but you cannot be very soft of a person. If you're soft, you have to come here and be stronger. You get stronger, because this is what I've noticed. When you are relaxed or you are very soft and you don't speak out about things that you need to speak out about sometimes, they feel as though they can do with you whatever they want. And they will try. So they try one time, and if you don't address it or let them know I'm not comfortable with this, they're going to do it again, and it becomes an habit, and gradually you're very uncomfortable, but you would have contributed to that situation because you wouldn't have stated that, hey, do not do this with me. All right? However, some situation you have to do a judgment call depending on the personality and how you see the situation going. You do a judgment call to say whether, okay, do I need to address this now or later? All right? But you have to have backbone. You have to have backbone to deal with these people. All right. Locals are power driven, right? And some in leadership position, they're not qualified for it, and they don't make a difference. They are just in it. So like I said, they are power driven. So if given a position for power, they're gonna suck it up. So I don't know, so often to me, the conclusion is that they're not used to leading anything. So when they're oftentimes given the opportunity, they just go overboard and go crazy. And, a lot of them, you'll realize who they are at this point in time, because it will come out. Right? It will come out. So they're power driven. So you want to ensure that you know this, and don't play into their hands, so to speak, and you act accordingly, you guided. All right, the very last thing is that you want to understand, and everybody should know, an offer letter is different from a contract. An employer offer you a job, but a contract give you the right to say, okay, we have made an agreement that I take this job and I'm gonna start working with you or for you. So these are just things to be careful of when you come here to teach in China as a foreigner or a Jamaican, foreigner in general. You want to be mindful of things like these. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye.